This is Josiah Plays Kentucky Route Zero. Alright, we're about to jump back into Act 5. We're in a town. Let's see what happens. What? I clicked resume. What do I do? Continue. Oh. Load. Quit. What? What? Continue. Here we go. Launching. Act 5, Scene 1. A town. Very descriptive. We saved what we could. Johnny carrying a rather improbably large box. It doesn't look like a very safe way to carry a big box like that. It is seen. Hey, cat, I'll race you. From here to that pile of mail, okay? Let's meow at him. Affirmative meow. Come stand here. This is the starting line. I don't really see a line, but okay. Ready? Get set. Go! He's very fast. Like, unnaturally fast. Come on, Forrest Gump. All right. Oh, it's no shame to lose. I'm a fast runner. Yeah, he is quite swift. Some scampering rascally kitty on a caper. Yeah, that rascal. I wonder if they'll make a sequel to Gibbous. It ended quite intriguingly. What's this? Is that Emily? What is she what's thising? So, I feel like I'm playing as the cat, but I'm using the glowing dragonfly thing to show the cat where to go. It's sort of weird. Curious meow. Oh man, it's totally broken. Isn't this the studio? Didn't she work here? Doesn't she know what everything is? Inquisitive meow. Waterlogged tapes. They might still play, who knows? But all the VCRs are shot. VCRs. At this point, when I hear VCR, it's basically like hearing trebuchet. It's like some ancient technology that they used in some far-flung time of the past. I mean, I'm old enough to remember using VCRs, but like, still, it feels like it's from a different world. Sad meow. I don't even know where to put all this. I hate to call it trash. I wonder if that garbage truck still works. I actually remember when we got our first VCR when I was a kid. It was pretty damn exciting, actually. It felt like an amazing piece of technology. To be able to get movies and bring them... Just imagine, okay, before the VCR, think about this. If you were not old enough, before the VCR, you could never watch anything on demand. You either went to a movie theater and watched a movie at the time it was playing, or you watched whatever happened to be playing on TV at that moment. That's it. You never got to watch a single thing when you wanted to, especially not in your own home. So, and if something came on TV and you missed it, that's it. Too bad. You missed it. You don't get to see it now, possibly ever. So when the VCR came out and you could go and get movies and watch them at home whenever you wanted, or you could record things off the TV to watch them later or to share with other people or whatever, it was actually a pretty revolutionary piece of technology. I mean, it really changed things. It was exciting. I'm pretty sure I have a couple of VCRs around here somewhere, in and amongst the hay. Nice. How come my cursor keeps disappearing? Maybe it's not disappearing. Maybe it's just very hard to see. Yeah, man. VCR. Those were good times, honestly. Wait, we can do a little meowing here. Alert meow. A small family of small mice huddle beneath the debris. Mice, huh? Predatory meow. The mice retreat into shadows. Why would you meow predatorily? What would it be like to be a pet? You know, to be a cat or a dog? On the one hand, pretty cush life. You don't have to do anything. You literally don't have to worry about a single thing. You're perfectly safe. All your needs are provided for. On the other hand, it seems like it would be really boring. What the fuck does a cat and or a dog do all day that's even interesting? Predatory meow. Yeah. Junebug and Clyde. It ain't like it used to be around here, I'll tell you that. Fighting the Red Baron like Snoopy did, for instance. I guess that's it. It never is. Ha! You're right about that. Cass always used to say... Tell me about Cass. She was a smart lady. No, she was a wise lady. Knowing her, I came to see the difference. She had a sense of things to come. I don't know if it was clairvoyance or just good eyes. She could cast augury once per day. There was one thing Cass always insisted on about this place. No roads leading in or out. Hell, we can always fly. No roads leading in or out. So was it an entirely self-sufficient community? There's their big transmitter tower. Community. There you are. This is going to be a choice. Funny how you stick together and you still act like you're alone. That's the cat way, huh? Always alone together? Just like that old man we were traveling with. I feel like these apply to me. I feel personally attacked. It seemed like it made him unhappy, but he thought he deserved it, I guess. Personally attacked? Knox? He thought he deserved it. The radio is playing softly in the hangar. Better get those people some food or else they'll end up hangry. These dome houses are cool. I would want to live in a house like that. Or like a hobbit hole. Marianne clears her throat. Imagine living in a hobbit hole. Built into the side of a hill. That'd be dope. What's going on, Marianne? Inquisitive meow. Well, hello! Marianne nudges Wanda gently. Wanda, time to wake up. The one with the cow on the roof. Yeah. Curious meow? Nope, dead to the world. Look, if there's one thing I learned in prison, it's never wake somebody up when they're sleeping. Unless you have an exceedingly good reason. Probing meow. Just try again later, I guess. Wait, what? It's really cool. Where did you get it? Are they gaming again? Oh, it was just in my pocket. My jacket pocket. Is it special? It's exactly the one we need to play this game. 20 sides. Oh, did they get their D20 back? You play board games? Because what, is she wearing Conway's jacket and therefore she has... I'm more into screens, I guess. Or did Conway just slip it? This is actually someone else's jacket. I'm sure he doesn't need that anymore. Okay, so it was his jacket. It's cool that it glows in the dark. Now we just need a dark place to play. Wait, is this the past? My friend's uncle said we could use his basement. Perfect. I'll hold on to this. Don't lose it. I'll guard it with my life. Wait a minute. This is like it's before they went and started playing the game in the basement, which would make this very much the past. And yet, obviously, in Shannon's timeline, it's not the past because she's already met Conway and got his jacket. And has the keys to the truck and all that. So, now we're playing with time, apparently. And before Knox types time with an H. Yeah. Because you notice we don't have the D20 in our inventory anymore. It's gone. Country roads take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia and or Kentucky. Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads. There's a graveyard here. Oh, here's Ezra. Ezra really gets around. Of course, we see how fast he runs, so it makes sense. I'm guessing time acts like the zero here. Self-contained, non-linear. Ah, that makes sense. Like an Ouroboros. There's really never been a road to this place? Why not? Oh, he's talking to Slow-Mo Crow. Odin's ravens. Anxious scraping noises. How'd they manage that? An indignant caw. Why? An undulating coo. For a very brief second, I thought that said moo, but that wouldn't have made any sense. I guess we could, but it sounds like a lot of work. A few chitters trailing off. You're right. I'll think about it. So much graves. Who's this? I still don't recognize most of the characters by just their visual aspect. Mostly because, I mean, unless it's real zoomed in, even then I don't always recognize all of them. The art style makes everyone kind of indistinct. Uh-oh. The hell's going on in here? Okay. Swirling vortex of evil. That's cool. Murder of crows. Wonder if we'll see Conway again. We probably will. Alright, let's put a sign up. Do not go in that barn. That is not the boot barn. Very much not the boot barn. Oh, dead horses. That cat takes some roundabout ways to get places. That cat sometimes has some Temple of Elemental Evil pathfinding. Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds. Oh man, that's a terrifying movie. Never look at birds the same way again after you've watched that. Oh, it's Ron. No, miss, they don't scare me at all. If you met them, you'd feel the same way, I'm sure. There's a very old one, and nobody can quite figure her out, but I can't imagine she means any harm. I leave the radio on for her at night, somewhere between stations, so it's just hissing. She likes the hissing, I think, though I can't say why. Hey, Taryn Walker, good to see you. Thanks so much for the bits. Can't hang out? You want to play this? Yeah, it's a very interesting game. Good to see you. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate the bits, Taryn. Hope you're having a good day. What is it about the radio they love? They all love it. I think he's talking about the ghosts. Ghost radio. Back to Lithuania. This must be... What was her name? Clara? It must be Clara. Who's Lithuanian, but I tried to give her like an Irish type accent because, you know, I don't know. Because I didn't know she was from Lithuania. To tell you the truth, I feel a little bad I won't be here to care for them anymore. Isn't that something? I kind of like it, like in games like Disco Elysium or whatever, where the characters are mostly not voiced, but they give you a tiny bit of voice acting, like when you first meet them, because that gives me an idea of what they're supposed to sound like, and then I can try to voice act similarly to however they actually sounded. But when you play something like this where there's absolutely no voice acting, a lot of times characters will come on screen and start talking, and you know nothing about them. Nothing. So it's hard to even come up with what kind of voice. So then I just pick something at random, and then I want to stick with it, even when I find out things about them that make that voice seem not that appropriate. Then I just stick with it because it'd be more confusing to start using a different voice. So it's not really ideal. Feel a little bad I won't be here to care for them anymore. Isn't that something? I'm beginning to think I might stay here. Is that ridiculous? I will stay here and care for your ghosts. Clara's gonna stay here and care for ghosts. That's good. Oh, she's the theremin. The theremin lady, right? So if she already plays a theremin, she's already ready to deal with ghosts and weird shit. This seems a little bit ominous. What if, like, just the stripped skull of the cat came bouncing out here right now? Okay, that got dark. I wouldn't be surprised. Oh, there's the bell. I wonder where the Biv and the DeVoe are. Early 90s joke. Choppy seas today, Captain. Aye, Captain. Let's reinforce the sails. Okay, so Flora and Ezra are continuing to have fun and be friends. That's good. Good for them. Here's what I'm still thinking is the ruins of some sort of mission. Or, you know, old school monastery or something. Here's a ghost. There's a bunch of crows over here. If Ron goes in there, it would be a bad day. Yeah. Everything on this tape is wild. Just in case you forgot. Alright, what is this creepy ass cackling I'm hearing? I had a meow option somewhere here. Alert meow. A lizard darts out from beneath a rock. Are those like toucans or something? Cautious meow. No sign of the lizard now. I don't think one person can get up there. But two can. What's happening here? I see this person has proper attire with him. Clyde lay on his back on the runway, hands folded behind his head. Halfway between dreams and the afternoon sun, he entertained the momentary delusion that he'd survived a plane crash and was vaguely unhappy when the dream faded. That looks like a ghost. But Clyde is still alive because he was just over there talking with... The struggle to get up there would be quite burdensome. That cat is having a really good time. Wow. Okay. Crash. Coming into land, he'd slammed into a truck. The driver probably thought the runway was another road. The roads were full of trucks coming and going these days, filling the town with strangers ever since, but he couldn't remember any more of the dream. It was fading quickly and irretrievably, in that uniquely frustrating death of past dreams. I do hate that. All the state said they wanted was to knock down some trees, many trees, and build a road tying this small town to the larger web of streets and highways that entombed the rest of the country. That's an interesting thought, that the streets and highways are entombing the country. It would bring in new goods, new people, maybe even some cash from tourism. Many of the residents supported the idea. But Clyde and his inner circle of stunt pilots turned mail carriers knew that a road would be the end of their secluded paradise. One thing I've learned is that paradise for some is often not paradise for all. Whatever kind of weird situation you've got, there's always going to be some people who think it's perfect as it is, because for them it is, but there's always some other people that actually hate it, and they want things to change. And then the people who think it's perfect as it is obviously don't want things to change. And no matter what happens, one of those groups of people gets disappointed. Such is the way of the human experience. The best solution is for each individual human to go off and live on their own. I wonder if there's enough... Well, there's not enough land that people could actually live on. There's enough land for all the humans to go off and live on their own and have a comfortable space around themselves. But there's not enough land that people could actually survive on, I suppose, and do that. Maybe there is, actually. I actually have no fucking idea. Rita, what do you guys think? Do you think there's enough survivable land for everybody to live on their own? There's a lot of people, but there's also a lot of land. Do you know how long you have to be asleep before you can start dreaming? Sometimes I think I'm dreaming even when I'm awake. Entirely possible. Even if you never go to sleep, you'll start dreaming on your feet. The people who built this library are always experimenting. They took nothing for granted, even sleep. They called themselves the people of nothing. Fearless experimenters. Sounds pretty Taoist. For me, every day is... Oh, this is Ezra talking. Ezra's a very philosophical little kid. For me, every day is very different. Do I live experimentally? I could also say you're living playfully. You'd fit right in here. Sure, it's a mess right now, but there's some residual energy from those fearless experimenters that I don't think will ever dissipate. Oh, here comes Junebug and Johnny, the cyborgs. Feel like I'm deciding Ezra's fate here. Survivor Bull. I could stay here. Junebug and Johnny walk up. They certainly don't sneak up. What's good, little dude? We were talking about experiments. Is that huge flood the Great Wave? No! Let this not have no crossover with the fucked up world of Dead Synchronicity. God, Dead Synchronicity was depressing. Oh, are you in the band? What do you think, kid? We've got room for a drummer. I'm great at drums. I know where all the buttons are. Everything is just drum machines now. I played the drums when I was young. Ron dug a grave. Apparently. Hey, this book's in pretty good shape. The City of Ladies. Interesting. No, I've never read it either. Good question. Let's take a look. Here we go. Minerva, Circe, Sappho, and some ladies from the Bible. Sure, why not? Confused meow. Nosy meow. I think they all get together and build a city. Sounds nice. I'll get us a bus ticket, eh? How do you get a bus ticket when there are no roads? Here we have waffles for any weather. Casually striding ghost people, they are. 3A, lay paper flat. 3B, bring bottom left corner up to top right corner. 3C, crease with firm, steady pressure along diagonal fold. Nikki applied only gentle pressure. Looser flowers felt more alive. Was she doing origami? She rolled her wrists. It was the 6th hour of her assigned company store shift, and she'd made dozens of flowers. Ron had bought a bouquet and cleaned out their stock that afternoon. Is this like some alternate future where the town has been taken over by the company or something? I'm so confused about timelines in this. 11. Repeat steps 4A-7 for each petal, taking care not to rip the filaments from step 9. The company store used to have a dedicated staff until the civic responsibility plan a few years back. Now everyone took 1 or 2 shifts a week on a mandatory volunteer basis. Mandatory volunteer. That is some fucking outer world shit right there. I want to make a setting now where there's companies, but they're like super fucking like benevolent and have everybody's best interest at heart, just because it'd be a change. Because every single thing that involves any form of companies or capitalism is always like they're super evil. Used to have a dedicated staff. A commotion outside caught Nikki's attention. Men yelling, blows landing. She put down her work and stepped out just in time to see the crowd disperse. Oh, is this them beating up the out-of-towner? Hey, son, good to see you. How you doing? Gniff in the house. Morning, peeps. Every time you say that, I think of those nasty yellow mushroom things that some people eat because they hate themselves. Greeting, meow. Oh, hi, kitty. Chatty meow. Yes, it's a beautiful day. I guess the weather was pretty bad last night, though. Confident meow. You're a chatty one, aren't you? Fanciful meow. Sure, whatever you say. Curt meow. Alright, well, take it easy. Shannon honestly doesn't give a fuck about this cat. She's a tech person, not one of these fucking druids around here. Alright. I don't know who these people are. That could be Johnny? Oh, Elmo. He's like the stoner weatherman guy, I think. Or fucks all flew away. They did. Or they washed away in this case, because they had the big flood. But before that, it was the company store. Oh, sure. I worked in a mine for a bit. And you know all about it. Never enough. We had to start a garden. But some things you just can't grow. I will take my waffle recipe to the grave. Wow. If you want, and you promise to keep it secret, I'll pass on my waffle recipe before I head out. I don't really eat, see? They are robots. Why so secretive? I just can't bear the thought of any son of a bitch from that power company eating one of my waffles. Fair. They pulled out. Back before the power company pulled out, I was in fear of my life half the time. We ought to just set this place on fire. No way. I'd like to see the cafe reopen. Waffles for any weather. I like that. I like the fact that these are not waffles that are only served on sunny days or whatever. You know where you can get some good ass waffles? Belgium. Now I know you're thinking, yeah, that's fucking obvious, but for real though. When you go to Belgium, they just have these people with carts out on the street selling waffles on the street, and they're fucking amazing. Have you been to Belgium, son? It's not that far away from where you live. Curious meow. Something brown scurries up the side of the tree. You know where you can't get cornbread? My house, apparently. Morning lines? What? Surprise meow. A squirrel? Too fast to tell. Amphetamine, baby. Oh, I get it. I get it. Oh, son. Oh, son. Alert meow. Every time I find this white cat, there's always an alert meow, and then I see some random small creature. Not this time, though. I just feel like this cat is bizarrely loud when she runs, or he, whichever. I'm not going to assume the cat is male. How do you even tell the gender of a cat? I never know. I mean, how much of a detailed inspection do you... Well, not genders per se. Cats probably don't have a concept of gender, but the sex of a cat anyway. Now cats have balls. But you probably have to inspect pretty carefully to determine that, right? I mean, you can't really just look at a cat and be like, oh, that's a male cat or a female cat. Guess it's true of dogs as well. I guess it's true of most animals. Not lions, though. You can tell with lions. In before testicular meow. Male cats tend to be huskier and more territorial and more friendly towards humans. Really? Interesting. I don't think I've ever seen a cat that was really friendly towards humans. I always assume cats are pretty much just full-on evil. They just pretend sometimes because they're manipulating the humans around them to get what they want. If you were cynical, you could say that's just what humans do as well. Clyde and Cass sat cross-legged in the shade of a light aircraft. Cass shuffling cards and Clyde absently flipping through a stack of unopened letters. We're certainly not clicking on cards. No caravan trap for me. Tell me about these letters. Demand for aerial stunts having faded almost completely, and many of their company having died or aged out of the profession. Clyde and Cass found for their remaining pilots a steady flow of contract work, delivering mail to remote rural areas. But this place was abandoned. Neutered cats are cuddle monsters. Really? For whatever reason, ripping the balls off a cat makes it love you. That's kind of horrifying. I wonder if that's also true of humans. I wonder what life was like as a eunuch. But this place was abandoned. As for whether it's true of humans, I suspect it is to an extent. Really? Cass's cards predicted they'd be here for quite a... Oh, that's right. She's a tarot reader. It's not caravan trap cards. She's the one with the augury and all that. Presumably she was... Clyde's wife is what we were kind of getting, maybe, and that she's basically a soothsayer of sorts. Rita tore up weeds. Elmo stood next to her with a bucket. Elmo's bucket. She passed him the uprooted weeds, and he stuffed them in the bucket. They worked this way for a few hours. Dark clouds drifted slowly closer, but wouldn't arrive until evening. This kind of seems like a one-person job that's being overstaffed. Do you really need a separate person to put the weeds in the bucket? Can't you just pull out the weeds and put them in the bucket yourself? I mean, now if the whole point is just for them to keep each other company while they do it, I understand, but it feels like maybe there's just not enough jobs to go around. Don't worry. I'll be the bucket holder. The hormone levels get all fucked, and a bunch of the chemistry that normally makes people wary would simply not be there, I think. The chemistry that normally makes people wary all relies on you having balls. It requires a bucket brigade. I'm curious about these weeds. Rita and Elmo left to get some tea. The bucket of weeds sat warming in the sun. The dandelions wilted and the clover dried. Some wayward insects continued to eat. What makes these insects wayward exactly? That implies there's something else these insects are supposed to be doing right now and they're playing hooky, like... But yes, in the case of men, I should think so, but like I said, it's a badly educated guess. I don't really know anything about anything, to be perfectly honest, so... Look, I know what osteoclasts and osteoblasts are, so that's useful information. When Rita and Elmo returned, they assumed the same roles and continued working. The garden was coming along as well as they could hope. Given months of neglect, when the plant shut down, the company abruptly pulled out of the area and took a large part of the town's population with it. This included the Carver family, who had tended this garden, the largest and most productive in town, for years. Needs more Saito with windblown eunuch theory. Yeah. Good point, Nox. Now the garden would be cared for by a new family, and feed what was left of the town and whatever it became next. They didn't know much about gardening, but they were prepared to learn on the job. They knew for sure they would plant tomatoes. Those had grown well from this garden in the past. Where is he? One never knows with Saito. One never knows. I imagine he's like, you know, creating man-animal hybrids in some sinister laboratory. Or individually pulling pieces of dust out of his keyboard with tweezers or something, I don't know. Totally calling him that from now on. I'm sure he'll love it. Rita and Elmo worked until it started to rain. The rain washed their sweat into the dirt. Nikki. Until finally it just gave way. But you did good work. It's not your fault. They didn't let you finish, that's all. What's she talking to? They let you finish. Oh, forget about it. This place would be dry as a bone. You always did good work. WTF, meow? Used to have nicknames for everyone, then I discovered most peeps didn't appreciate them. Yeah, it's real hit or miss with nicknames. Sometimes if you give somebody a good nickname, they'll really like it, and it makes them feel good when you call them that, but most of the time, nicknames annoy people. Guess it depends on the nickname. During the 9 months that I was in Arapahoe County Jail waiting for my sentencing and all that, everyone just called me 211, and I didn't mind that. I don't remember who started it. Somebody did. But 211 was, you know, the police code for either armed or aggravated robbery, which is what they had originally charged me with. I didn't get convicted of that. I only got convicted of simple robbery, which is less serious. Because in fact, I didn't have a gun. But, anyway, so they called me 211. I don't know what they would have done if another person had come in who also committed that crime. Would they have been 211 too? No. I mean, nobody else was called the nickname based on, like, their charge, so it was just something special for me, I guess. 211. 212! No, but then that changes everything. My IRL nickname I absolutely hated for a long time, and that very hate is why it stuck. What is your IRL nickname? At this one job I had, there was a guy who always called me Colorado because it was here in Reno, but I had just moved back here after living in Colorado for a long time. So he called me Colorado, so then everybody started calling me Colorado, and I didn't really mind that nickname either. Pronounced fail? What does it mean? It means fail. Oh, okay. Inquisitive meow. It's a memorial. A lot of my friends back in Colorado, especially like my best friend's kids and stuff, called me JoJo. You know, because, like, short for Josiah. And I don't love JoJo particularly, but it got to the point where they called me that enough times, and they kind of said it affectionately that, you know, I stopped. It didn't really bother me. Alert meow. Something in the bushes stirs. This cat discovers a lot of creatures. Inquisitive meow. No response. It's the same word as the fell in fell beast. It means like gross, hideous, disgusting. See, that doesn't sound like a good nickname. That sounds like an awful nickname. Just changed my last name to Fink. A young woman in my class mispronounced it as Mr. Fell when she was trying to get my attention. Oh. And then it just stuck somehow? That's terrible. This cat must be proficient in perception. That's a good one. That's a good one, Knox. Perception. Couple games. I was just thinking about what would it be like to be an animal, like a cat or something, and have such better senses than humans do. And then I was also thinking, you know, animals probably, I mean, who really knows what goes through animals' heads, but animals probably are paying a lot more attention to their environment and to the here and now than humans do. Because I'm imagining that animals are not constantly walking around thinking about other things that aren't related to where they are right now. Which means they probably I even lived in there for a bit. No way. Yeah, too drafty. I moved out one winter and never looked back. It gets cold? Sure, when the sun is down. Nice old church, though. Really nice. Could make a nice workshop. She says that about every building. There you go. Shannon just wants to turn the entire town into her workshop. I hear Johnny and/or Junebug approaching. The whole class laughed at it. People started calling me that right away. That's shit. That is shit. No, that's not cool. Fast forward 25 years, and I actually have my nickname on my business card. You have a business card? Because it's pretty much only the police who know what the fuck my first name is. Wow. So you really leaned into it, huh? He said, of course I have a business card. Where'd you fly into? Flying? Ha! I'm just checking to see if everything's working okay. You could fly us somewhere if you wanted to, though, right? Of course. So why don't you? Here we go. Keep your distance now. That plane looks safe AF. Well, there it was. Flight of the Clyde. The Sky Cow. If he has a trail that comes behind this, he could go up and do some skywriting. Even your parents thought it was hilarious and have been calling you that? What the fuck? Radio plays softly in hangar. Yes, skywriting. Alright, we have no idea who the fuck Wanda is. But here comes Shannon. I have so run out of voices. I don't even know what to do for Wanda. She seems like somebody who's very bored and monotone, maybe. Guess circumstances helped. Different stage names. Look like a postcard punk. Alright. Well. Cool. Part 4, subsection G, notes on inhabitants. Most have relocated already prior to the transitional event. Tape recorder stops playing. Oh, she works for the Bureau. Bureau of Reclaimed Spaces, right? I can spot you easy now. Hey, Splode, good to see ya. How you doing? Playing some Wolson, nice, when the servers aren't down. Yeah, been fun so far. Looks fun. I mean, I know it's fun. I've played it. How goes everyone? I'm good. Finally got a bunch of sleep, so I'm not tired. Good to see you, Splode. Do you have any idea how sad it is to be 42 and be known as Mr. Gross? I mean, you could try to invent a new nickname for yourself and get people to start calling you it. Before I was Fire Snake, I was Mr. Sunshine for a long time. All through my younger days, that was my online name, was Mr. Sunshine. Which, at the time, was ironic, because I was not very sunshiny. But at some point, it became Fire Snake. Because of Donna, really. Mole sitting up myself, servers keep dying. I actually just passed out for 2 hours. A little slow and sleepy. Oh yeah, still recovering from sickness. Is it getting better now? Math is not ever the answer, son. We've had our eyes on this site for years. Alright, well, don't set up shop just yet, huh? They're already coming in here trying to claim this place. Sick of everybody trying to claim everything. Glad to hear you're feeling better, Splode. What were you down with? Had a very... Yeah. Yeah, I hear that, Splode. I'm sorry, that sucks. For me, it was heroin. Heroin was the killer, in my case. I knew a shitload of meth heads and meth cooks in prison, though. I learned the whole process for cooking meth in quite a lot of detail. I mean, I couldn't actually do it. I don't remember, you know, all the specifics at this point, but I was taught the whole process nonetheless. Not with hands-on, obviously, just with written and verbal instructions. Had a very, yeah. Wide awake? Well, being wide awake is good. Upper respiratory tract infection. That sounds shitty. Can't quite recall the method. No. Step 1 is get a hold of a shitload of Sudafed. And that's why I think you can't buy a shitload of Sudafed anymore. Of course, the real preferred method was never to buy the Sudafed. It was to break in and steal the Sudafed. Hey, don't run in the graveyard. Oh, damn, there he goes. Wait, what? Don't run in the graveyard. Why not? It's disrespectful. People are trying to rest. There are no people here, Shannon. There are only rotting remains. Been there kind of so I can empathize. Probably was good for me in a weird way. Everything is good for us in a weird way. That is why I always say be grateful. Because even the worst shit, even the worst things, are actually the building blocks of the future. It sounds lame, but I'm not really expressing it well. Annoyed meow. Agreed. Okay. Had sex in a graveyard once. Thought it was wicked cool. Then it was fairly normal to have sex in that graveyard and didn't feel so wicked. I broke into a church with my first girlfriend and had sex in there. Felt pretty badass. Oh damn, there he goes. Can we go in after him? In the bushes? Yeah. After the raccoon? Yeah. ... No. But it's probably full of thorns. Yeah, but raccoon. Hashtag but raccoon. It's not happening. Okay, okay. Oh, don't pout. Tell you what, if that raccoon comes back into town, we'll leave some food out for him. That's gonna lead to good things. Yes, ma'am. Graveyard full of famous peeps. Just imagining a bunch of those little yellow marshmallow things buried for some reason. People use it as a park. Everyone has had sex in there at least once. Yeah. I've never had sex outdoors. Scandalous cremains. Cremains. It's just one of those portmanteaus that annoys me. Certain portmanteaus I just love and find really charming, and other ones I just find awful. And cremains is one that I find awful. I'm not sure why. Somebody's digging. Oh, a grave for the horses, you guys. You gotta dig a big-ass grave to bury 2 horses. They already know that if we ever find them, we'll kill, fucking eat them in no particular order. See, I always assume that if we make any contact with aliens, that they're gonna fucking kick our ass. Because if they already have the technology to get here from, you know, wherever the fuck far away, they probably have way better technology and knowledge than us in every respect. Either that or they'll just be benevolent. But then I think of benevolent aliens showing up here and then observing us for a while and being like, no, fuck this. This species is too... These guys are shitlords. Fuck this planet. Oh, it's Ron doing the burying. Observing a Fortnite tournament to the unbeknowing. Imagine this incredibly advanced, benevolent race of aliens shows up on Earth, and they're like, we're going to help them. We're going to give them all this technology and teach them how to cure all their diseases and end all of their hunger and everything, right? And they're like, let us meet with their leader. Who is the most powerful leader on this world? Let's meet with them. Then they meet Trump. And that's their impression of humans. They're like, okay, we out. We out. And nuked. Never mind, we're sending in the Vogons. Yeah, look at every time a technologically superior group of humans has run into a technologically inferior group of humans in recorded history. Not good. They tractor beam the cows up into the ships to be hambassadors. Why hambassadors, though? What do cows have to do with ham? That doesn't even make sense. Six feet? That's a standard. Standard for people anyway, but... 6 feet's a rule for a person. And let's say the average person is 5'9". It'd make some beefy reps, though. Very beefy. That way the aliens know they won't be swindled. Can you guys imagine what it'd be like to live in Knox Moo's head for one day? That's a world that would be interesting to visit. Neighbors were about 15 hands, so that's pretty close. Well, at least I'm putting the math in. If this were still company property, they'd be off to a landfill. Old sons of bitches. Aliens might be equally as confused. What if there are no aliens, you guys? Isn't that a really depressing thought? Maybe it's not for you, but for me, what if we literally are the only intelligent species in the entire galaxy or whatever? Like, if that's the case, man, that's sad. Those greedy sons of bitches had finished that drainage ditch when they were supposed to. I ought to hike through the woods and give them a piece of my mind. Yeah, they care a lot about a piece of your mind. Two dead horses. Is that how the Dos Equus came to be? It's a good question. A lot of horse stuff in this game, that's for sure. Toucans. Or some kind of colorful tropical birds. I've never even been anywhere tropical, you guys. What's the furthest south place I've ever been? I don't know what the longitude and latitude. I don't even know the difference between longitude and latitude. I mean, I know what they are. I just don't know which one's which. Which one is up and down and which one is side to side. Anyway, I think latitude is the side to side one, right? Around the, I don't know. I don't know what the latitude is of like the Greek islands in the Aegean Sea. That could be the furthest south I've been, or it could just be like Texas or Southern California or something. I'm not sure which one of those is further south. I have no idea without looking at a map. I don't think I ever took a geography class in my life. Similar, you think? This town. I really like the idea of ghost towns. I really like the idea of a ghost world. I'm sure I've talked about this before on here, where like one of my recurring, ever since I was a small child, recurring fantasies is like waking up one day and finding that everyone in the world is gone except for me. I used to have dreams like that a lot, and I've always thought it would be really cool. It would make me really happy. I don't know why. I just feel like everyone else is just kind of out there to annoy me. It'd be really fun to just explore, you know, all the places that are left behind without anybody else around to bother me or tell me where I could and couldn't go. I was in Thailand for a while. Oh, I've never been anywhere near there. Summer there fucking sucked. Oh, I bet it was really hot and humid, right? Ezra says, wow, seems to be working okay. Julian's gonna love this. Who? His giant eagle. Excited meow. Yeah, it's amazing. Well, sure, it would get lonely, but honestly, I'm mostly pretty lonely even with all these people here, so I don't feel like it would be that much of a change. Um, and I could just do whatever I wanted, you know? You know, when I was young, I did a lot of burglaries, and I always really enjoyed being in somebody else's private space without them knowing about it. Like, without. I enjoy being somewhere that I'm not supposed to be, somewhere that belongs to someone else, and I'm there, and they don't know I'm there. I know that makes me sound super creepy, but I mean, that was when I was really young. I haven't, done anything like that in decades. But I like the idea of the whole world being just abandoned and being able to just go into every business and every house and every whatever and just see what's in there and not have to worry about anybody. I don't know. I'm a weird person. What do you want from me? You tend to like to be alone? Yeah. Next time you go offline for a few months, Shoot me a mail if you can. No promises. Disappearing like a ghost is kind of my MO. She watched him. That's very vague. She stood in her own shadow. A few deer hunters and talkers walked past, but said nothing to the seer. Didn't even look. She studied the path. This was the path the seer had found in her scrying game. A series of private dice rolls and inscrutable diagrams. The community trusted this game. It had led them to fish-filled streams, intimate knowledge of the elements and the stars, even here to the cenote settlement. They trusted it without understanding it, and now the game had revealed to the seer this vital route, which would lead them to safety before the next floods came. Your friends always accuse me of being a professional ghost as well. Yeah. At the end of the route, she'd seen a safe, quiet place. Caverns of leathery black birds, a lake of eyeless fish, a towering flame. Now the diver walked the mounds, memorizing the route. He was almost ready. Well, this just got very vague and confusing, more so than before. There's a big hole here. Yeah, same here, son. Sometimes I'm super social, sometimes I'm the opposite. But what I'm finding is, as I get older, year after year, it's sliding more and more consistently towards the opposite. So, you know, when I was really young, when I was in my teens, early 20s, if there's like a scale, you know, between, I would slide back and forth up the scale, but I would stay on the super social side a lot more of the time. Now it's like I stay on the super isolated side a lot more of the time. Or something. I don't know. It just feels like it's way harder to be social now than it used to be. Well, yeah. You get kind of anxious with too much contact. Oh. Once you lost your family, they died of cancer. It's sad. Sorry. Made you more disconnected. Well, my whole ghosting people thing started when I went to prison. Like, once I got out of prison is when I was pretty much destroyed. Like, that was the end of, like, the old me. Everything that was good about the old me, basically. Because before I went to prison, I had all these really tight, deep relationships. And then, like, everyone just kind of, like, forgot about me and moved on while I was doing my time. And then there was, like, nobody for me when I got out. And in prison, I had a lot of like connectivity to my community and lots of good relationships with people, you know, in the prison. But once I got out, I was suddenly just super alone. Super alone. And like had a really hard time connecting with regular people after having just done 4 years in prison. So like it was just rough, you know, and ever since then, like I really felt like relationships are so transient now. Before, it always felt like, oh, this is somebody that I'm gonna love until the end of time, or this I'm gonna be friends with until the end of time. This is somebody that's like gonna be a permanent part of my life. And that's not the case, you know, when you're in prison, and it's not the case with the people who eventually forget about you and stop writing, stop visiting, whatever. And so, and then, you know, by the time you get out, they've just moved on. And so then I guess I came to see any sort of relationships as these highly transient things that I just abandon at a moment's notice. Maybe because I'm trying to abandon them before they abandon me, kind of thing. You know, like, well, if somebody's going to bail on this, it's going to be me. Might want to fix that through therapy. Yeah, I've had a real hit or miss relationship with therapy, mostly miss. Yeah, the drug thing must complicate everything considerably. I don't know who these people are or what they're doing, but they're just standing around slack-jawed as far as I can tell. And in a lot of cases, there's nothing stopping me from reaching out to a lot of people but me, you know? Like, what's happening over here? I just find it harder and harder to do. Very close and try to be good to my friends that I still have. Just kind of do your own thing. Yeah. That sounds pretty intense, son. Alright, so this is... I still can't really identify people well by seeing them in this game. I'm pretty sure this is Junebug. I don't know who the hell this is. Maybe Clara or somebody. Oh, Emily. Right. Yeah, I'll miss them for sure. Beautiful creatures, and so thoughtful. I bet. Where do you think you'll go? Oh, I don't know. For now, I'm just poking around the rubble. Hmm. Really, son? That sounds very sad. Oh yeah, you've talked about him before, and that whole situation. It all sounds like a huge mess. Hmm. Life's a huge mess, yeah. Emily pulls a videotape out of the rubble. The label's all muddy. Oh, this is Rita's tape. I should get this to her. Maybe she can clean it up. A broken projector? Elmo's projector. Ah, it's ruined. Poor Elmo, he'll be devastated. Nah, he'll be cool with it. Takes a lot to perturb that guy. With all the weed he smokes. That's just in my head. The game didn't say he smokes weed. But in my head he does, for sure. Very little I can salvage here. It wouldn't mean anything anyway. It's kind of a package deal. Well, son, the answer is inside you the whole time. So, that's something to keep in mind. Also, follow your heart. Be yourself. Be yourself. It's the shittiest advice ever. Yeah, I've been there. Time to find a new package, honey. Uh-oh. That sounds like drama waiting to happen, son. I say just dive in like a maniac. What could go wrong? Fuck it. More easily said than done. He has 2 kids. Radio softly playing. Someone's guitar gently weeping. First relationships are always the weirdest. For me, it's really weird when I try to reconnect with anybody from a long time ago because I always find there's this big disconnect between our life experiences in the intervening time. Virtually everyone else has had a shitload of life experiences. Going to new places, moving to new places, meeting new people, having new jobs, having relationships, all this stuff, right? Their life has been so full of stuff and their life has evolved so dramatically. Now they're married, now they have kids, now they have this career, now whatever. Things have changed so much for them and so many times over the years that the things of the distant past no longer take up any real space in their head or in their, the things of the distant past no longer matter. They're just part of a narrative. Whereas for me, because of the time I spent in prison and then all the time that I've spent since essentially doing nothing, 95% of the time, I've had very few relevant experiences since, you know, the old days. And so the old days and the people of the old days still loom very heavily in my mind and still have a lot of emotional relevance for me. Whereas, you know, the other people, like I said, they've lived and done and felt so much since then that, you know, that time is just, you know, ancient history to them. And so that disconnect, that disparity there makes it really difficult to sort of find common ground with somebody again after so long for me. Part of you is really pissed at him. I mean, I say just see where it goes, man. Just when in doubt, don't be cautious. Now, this isn't necessarily advice that I follow, but it's advice that I give. Mostly because I'm perfectly happy to take risks with other people's lives. They're all standing here, looking very weird. Just taking one last look. Not much left to look at, is there? Yeah, that was a bad one, but look what it washed up out of the mud. What is that? An animal bone? Super ancient. I actually don't know. Wasn't asking for advice, just torn like a motherfucker. Such is life, my friend. Such is life. At least you have something to be torn about. Soundboard is good at times. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. It looks handmade. I wonder what it was for. Why did they build this huge, dirt spiral? That's probably not what they called it. Yeah, sounding board, I think, is what they usually say. Maybe butchered. Nox doesn't like butchering. I knew a guy who worked in a slaughterhouse. He said they had to wear these gloves that were basically like chainmail. To keep themselves from cutting themselves with the super sharp knives. Because they had to work very fast with very sharp knives. And if they didn't wear like these essentially armored gloves, they'd end up cutting the shit out of themselves. I thought, wow. Sounds safe. Sorry, guys. A gut cleaner. Gut cleanser at a slaughter. That sounds horrifying. Why did they build this dirt spiral? Most of these ancient earthworks are thought to be Burial mounds. But this one definitely isn't. To be honest, I don't know what it was for. Yeah, I don't really know what they did in the 50s and 60s with animals. Whatever it was probably bad. A high-pressure water gun to hose the guts and crap out of the carved... Oh, jeez, that sounds horrifying. Nope, I don't think I would... No, I wouldn't do that job. Mm-mm. I wouldn't do that job. Even though I do eat meat, and I like meat, I feel like, ethically, I really wish humans would stop eating meat. Like, I think there'll be a day when we basically don't kill and eat animals anymore, and I like the thought of that day. The seer huddled in the small cave. The deer hunters ran by, shielding their eyes from the torrential rain. It must have looked like she was taking shelter, but she was waiting for the water to rise and envelop her. The water was warm. It rose above her knees. It reminded her of the womb. She closed her eyes. Yeah, well, it's always really easy to look back on things in hindsight and be like, oh my god, they were such savages. How could they do that? What the fuck? Right? We have the luxury of being able to look back on all this bad shit that people used to do and feel so superior, you know, like, oh yeah, I can't believe they thought that was okay. We're so much better than them. But really, it's all about the context in which you grew up, you know? The culture in which you grew up and what was considered acceptable and what wasn't. If I was born at a certain time and a certain place, it's possible that I might think something like slavery was perfectly okay, you know? But looking at it from the perspective of me in this world and this time, it seems really morally repugnant, and like, how could anybody ever own another human being? That's so terrible. But like, just because they believed that was okay at the time doesn't mean they were necessarily horrible people. It just means the cultural context in which they existed was so different that we can't really imagine, I think. I don't know. I do feel that humanity as a species is morally evolving on a pretty consistent straight line. Sometimes it might go slower than others, and it might be a little bit of a 2 steps forward, 1 step back kind of thing, but I do think that human beings as a species are getting better with time. Which means I think there's a lot of reason to have hope that we're going to get even better, and that a lot of the things that we find repulsive right now are going to eventually become artifacts of the past that people just look back on and say, I can't even imagine. And I believe that's the direction the world is heading. So there's reason for hope, I think. Yeah, a lot of vegans ride around on high horses and expect applause for it. Yeah. We had this same discussion 3 years ago where I said what you just said and you vehemently disagreed. That doesn't surprise me. My opinions on things change a lot. She wondered where the diver was now, if he had found the end of the route. Was he on his way back, or had he been lost underground? Either way, it was too late. She thought back to the first flood, long before her birth, a flood she had only seen in dice rolls. She stayed there for a while, and then opened her eyes again. Now the water was crossing her heart. She took the game pieces from her bag and released them gently into the flood. This whole ancient gamer seer thing is very intriguing. In my day, we played D&D to predict the future. You what? Yeah, no, it was legit. Okay. It's getting better. There's a lot of people that are not interested in bettering the race. Yeah, of course, that's true. But I think those people eventually get overruled. You told me the arc of the universe tends toward justice, liberty, and equality. And you thought that was so well put, you somehow remembered it. Yeah, that is a nice sentiment. Hand me that rag, would you? The one with the embroidered bird on it. Why is the cat running around the dead horse's leg? I'm not pushing any buttons. The cat's just doing that. This one? Does it have a bird on it? I think so. Don't you know what a bird looks like? Yeah, but it's pretty small. I thought it was some letters. I guess that could be a bird on there. Well, it's a rag, ain't it? As long as it's a rag, I guess it'll work for mopping sweat. Yeah, it's a rag for sure. He's deep in the hole now. He literally has to have a ladder to get out. That's a lot of digging. He would be really tired after that. Digging is hard fucking work. That's the slow part, just like some of our judiciary branch. Some of it has to die out, sadly. You felt like you belonged to the generation that will make the world better simply by dying. I kind of feel that way too, son, to be perfectly honest. The thing is, every generation becomes that generation. Everybody always thinks their generation are the generation of the revolutionaries and that all the people older than them are just shitlords who don't get it. But all those people that are shitlords who don't get it were the revolutionaries when they were young. And they thought the people before them were the shitlords who didn't get it. And these people right now who are the revolutionaries are going to become the shitlords who don't get it 30, 40 years from now. And they don't think they are, but they are. It is the way of humans. I think it's been that way probably every generation for all of time. Or at least in, relatively modern history. I think it's pretty clearly been that way. Hashtag we are the shitlords. I have seen the shitlords, and they are us. Everything that is old and decrepit and dying and useless was at one time young and vibrant and new and dynamic, you know? Just the way of things. So here's a strange, like, megaphone symbol. Yeah, son. I have a hard time with that as well. You like the in-between. Personally, I think it's important to keep a very open mind and sort of a more balanced perspective. I mean, certainly you can pick sides and you can have your opinion on issues, but I don't think people should cling to their opinions too zealously. I think once you start thinking that you know the absolute one right way, I think you're in trouble, regardless of whether you're actually right or not. You're entitled to your wrong opinions. Because I think oftentimes the truth is found in the middle somewhere between the extremes. Maybe that's one of the things that we're very good at as a species. I mean, we don't always do it, but a lot of times we do eventually do it. And that's compromise. He's ringing the bell. For whom does it toll? Oh, they talked about having a ceremony later. I think that's what the bell was for. They're gonna have like a memorial ceremony now, I think, and everyone's gonna gather. That's what I'm gathering. You can hear the robots coming. I love how nobody says one word throughout the entire game about the fact that Johnny and Junebug are fucking robots. Or whatever. And here they all are. Is this whole thing a memorial just for the two horses? I mean, not that that's unwarranted. I thought it was going to be like a memorial for the whole town, but maybe the two horses are sort of the symbolic representation of everything that was lost. That's true, son. There is a downside to everything. Toll the dead. Hey, y'all. Thanks for sticking around for this. I know we've all got places to... Well, if anybody still needs somewhere to go, be sure and speak up, okay? I think Ron's heading through the woods tonight. Back to the road if you want a caravan. No, I do not want to caravan! Yeah, the Equus Oils gas station was the beginning. You staying, Em? Yeah, sure, I'll stay. I think we can build something here again. This place has good bones. For right now, though, we got some friends to bury. The neighbors. The neighbors. And there were the horses. I feel like the world should be rebooted. That's why I've always liked the idea of an apocalypse. I know that in practice an apocalypse would suck, but just the idea of apocalypse as reboot has always really appealed to me. Nikki has a poem, and I have a song. If anybody wants to say anything, though, I'll go first. The neighbors were kind, gentle, beautiful horses. I used to go on walks with the silver one, out in the woods by... Why didn't anybody ever give them names? The silver one. Well, I guess he was gray, but his coat looked silver in the light, so I always called him that in my head. And the other one is... the other one. And I love these horses, but you'd never know it if you heard me talk about them like that. That's a good point. You don't think this is sustainable, Amaranth? I don't know. I genuinely am too ignorant of all related topics to even speculate. Throughout history, we've rebooted, compromised the new system into an untenable situation, rebooted, compromised, and it's gotten better for almost everyone ever, so gradually every time. Yeah. I don't think the issue has ever been that there's not enough resources for everyone. I think the issue has been that there's certain people taking up way more than their share of the resources. So then other people don't get any resources. As well as, of course, doing actual damage to the environment, which is something that's grew out of control. And that is partially related to the number of people, of course. If we're a spacefaring race, then yes, it would be, but we're just twiddling our thumbs. Well, the space thing, I think, will come. Hopefully. I would go to a different planet. That'd be cool. So I'm sorry, Silver One and Other One. Sorry I don't have better names for you. You deserve better names. Also, sorry I'm so bad at this. Anybody else have anything to say? Fucking Elmo with his weird stoner non sequitur. I was thinking about when all those canned carrots showed up in the mail. Y'all remember that? Somebody was calling around with some canned carrots they wanted to be rid of, and I guess Consolidated Power got word of it. Hoping for a Star Trek type situation for us. Yeah, I don't really know the Star Trek type situation too well. Other than I thought things were pretty good on Earth in Star Trek. I'm not sure. So these cans of carrots showed up in the mail, and we didn't know where they came from at first. I tried some out, no flavor to them. Some of them were gray, just awful. Rita said that's still okay to eat. Like, sometimes carrots just lose their color if they sit in a can too long. But nobody wanted them, really. Well, Aunt Connie came on TV with a message like, "Hope the horses are enjoying their treat." And we thought, okay, these are for the neighbors, sure. Horses love carrots, right? But the neighbors wouldn't touch them, wouldn't even look at them. You'd think they were canned rocks. We opened a couple dozen and set them all out by the water trough, and they were still there a day later. Even the raccoons steered clear. Death carrots. Bottom-up democracy rather than top-down democracy? That sounds really cool. How would it work? And then, of course, Consolidated sent us an invoice for every can we'd opened, already made out in company script. How do you like that? Fucking stealth selling. We're gonna send you some stuff, not tell you that we're selling it to you. Then once you have it, we're going to charge you for it ex post facto. By the way, that was a purchase. Just thought you should know. What motherfuckers? Anarchism. We didn't give them names because the names weren't ours to give. The horses were here before us, you know. They came with the people from Central America. You know, the utopians. People of nothing. Utopians. The people of nothing arrived by horseback in October, and their first experiment was to free the horses. That was generations ago. Of people and horses. I don't know when we started calling them the neighbors. We should have called them the people, I think. They were the only consistent residents of this place for over 100 years. And now they're all gone. Who are the people now? I feel like she's ignoring a shitload of other species who lived in this area the whole time. What about the squirrels? What about the spiders? What about the ants? What about the birds? What about the fish? Yeah, but horses are big and cool looking, so they matter. But all those small species, who gives a fuck about them? Bottom-up democracy means local democratic councils take care of local decision-making and send a mandate for negotiation down the line to other such entities they interact with. Oh, I like the idea of small regional councils rather than big overarching. I don't know how well that works with massive numbers of people, though. What about the squirrels? Horses fucking stink, though. Shut up, horses are awesome. Sounds scandalous. Bottom up? Wow. And suddenly a different image is in my mind. Thanks, Splode. Bottom up democracy sounds like what we actually have, in that you're fucking bending over to take it. That's how the government wants us. Bottom up. Seems like every squirrel you ever see is just being a squirrel for the first time ever. No, I have no idea what you're talking about, son. Who are the people now? And she's like waxing all philosophically about this, and Emmy's like, okay, I guess we better move on. That's no more of your fucking weird rambling, Rita. Nikki, you ready? I don't necessarily want smaller government. I want smaller military. Bottom-up democracy, giggle, is kind of the opposite. We've got a face-down, ass-up democracy. Thanks for sticking around. Like Emily said, it's so good to have you all here for this. I think the neighbors would have liked this, all of us gathered here. They like to be around people. Maya, you and our other visitors might not know about the out-of-towner. He came here to work for the company, to dig a ditch, and the company worked him good and hard.
and for less than he was worth. But it wasn't enough. They had to use him up completely. After that, we became ungovernable. First out of shame, then grief, then anger.
You should go over and... Yeah, I guess that's a thing you should do. Not a lot of openings opening up in the area where I want to work.
This is a poem for the neighbors, but it's also for this town. Yeah, we're gonna bury this town today when we bury these horses. It's the same thing. We're gonna bury these horses, and what do you think will happen next? We'll all walk out into the woods and leave this place empty. No, I guess some of us might stay and build again. That's all right. It couldn't be me, but to try is your birthright.
Hopefully it's better than Vogon poetry.
If you do stay, you'll be building on top of a grave. But that's true anywhere. The whole world is built on top of graves.
It's dark and profound.
Look for me under your boot soles, as the fella says.
Nikki clears her throat and begins reading from the paper she's holding. Oh, I'm picking the words of the poem?
For we who stayed in shame to penance pay, and hoped to mercy find right where we sinned. Those hopes are withered, no mercy left. Who could forgive us now we've buried our merciful friends?
It's kind of dark. Directs her attention at Shannon.
Our neighbors were the best of us, of course. It's always so. Our better selves, clear of ourselves, where we can see their glory glow. They glow now underground, our friends with love.
Glowing horse corpses. Cool. What happened to skeletal leg arm guy? He got taken by the other skeleton workers of the distillery back with them to start working at his slave job, presumably. I've often thought it'd be cool if no one could actually run for office. Like if campaigning just ceased to be a thing. And instead, everybody just picked somebody that they thought should be in the position and just wrote it down. And then we looked and see what name got mentioned the most times. I don't know, that's probably a stupid system, but like, I was just wondering how that would go. Okay, they're glowing underground with love. Cool. I think I'm going to keep it dark. People would just bribe the vote somehow. Yeah, people would basically secretly campaign. Or they would do things that amounted to campaigning while still technically being able to say, I'm not campaigning. I'm just doing X.
To greener pastures, we might say, but lie. So let me try instead to share your woe. below the earth in damp and torchlit caves. Some other cherished fools will build their home.
Then we buried the horses. Very straightforward.
I've heard of a land of joy and peace and wonderful life. A beautiful place of mansions fair and skies so bright, where all who believe the Savior dear forever shall stay. And having been saved by grace divine, I'm going that way. I'm going that way. I'm going that way. Yes, dear, the Savior I adore is with me each day. I'm clinging to Him and never to stray.
I like how these ghosts are just sitting here.
Singing praises all day long. I'm going that way.
Wait, more ghosts are appearing, aren't they?
Well,
Like,
glorious news
lots of them.
I tell and sing as onward I go.
Yeah, they are. They're gathering.
For those who are still astray in sin, my Savior may know. I want them to sing that praise above some beautiful day. For glory to Him who died for me, I'm going that way. I know I shall meet Him at the gate when trials are past. I know I shall meet Him face to face in glory at last. Oh, I believe that when we meet, well done, He'll say, while trusting my soul redeemed in love, I'm going that way. I'm going that way. I'm going that way. Yes, dear, the Savior I adore is with me each day. I'm clinging to Him and never to stray. Just singing praises all day long. I'm going that way.
The ghosts cast shadows. And now they're fading out. People are just walking away wordlessly. Robots walking away. Oh, I'm back to controlling the cat and the... That was a pretty cool scene. Apparently I'm rummaging. Maybe that was a swirling cloud of all the ghosts that was in here before. Now I've got a lot more of a top-down perspective as well with the camera. I can see their sort of spiral thing they made around the hole. The mysterious hole. Why are these people all standing here in a circle, silently? Had to stop here because I was tired. Well, now things have gotten very weird. We're in that sort of sun starting to go down phase of the light. Nobody's saying anything, doing anything. I think it woke Knox back up. You weren't sleepy cow, were you, Knox? Okay, I'm at the point now where I'm starting to feel like I don't know what to do. Doesn't seem like I can do any interaction with anyone anywhere. None of them have any little clickable doodads. Maybe these ones? No. Oh, here they are. A lot of them at this place. This is 5 Dogwood Lane, right? I think that's what they said last time. Casually guitar picking. I think we're going to have another song. Is this the end? Or are we gonna go to Conway? The end. Wow. So Act 5 was way shorter than the other acts. Look for me under your boot soles. Achievement unlocked. Oh, but there is a final interlude. Death of the Hired Man. This probably will be the end for Conway. The final interlude. I mean, it's not really an interlude if it's at the very end. I guess it's an epilogue, is what it really is. Epilogue. Oh noes, says Splode. Death of the hired man. To love a red moon. Mexico? That's what she said. Damn. Oh, she's been there before. It sounds so far away. She lived there for years. You talking about Weaver now? Why'd she come back? Ask her. Sometimes it's hard to get a straight answer. So I recall. Well, that old girl's trouble anyhow. I'll tell her you said so. She'd wear it with pride. She would, wouldn't she? How's business? Shitty. Haha. Yeah, that's hilarious. Sure, you laugh. Sorry, Harry. You laugh, but where'll you go to sit and talk all day when they shut this place down? Oh, I appreciate the steaks. It'd be a different story if someone bought a drink with cash now and then. Sure, Harry, we've all got our troubles, which reminds me. I'll pour 'em. No, it's not that. As I was leaving the bureau, I ran into someone else. Uh-huh. Your erstwhile janitor. I bet. What do you have to say? In fact, he suggested he might come by and clean your facilities. He what? I told him never to... Now, Harry, be kind. I told him. Bar door opens and closes. Here he is. Now, be kind. I'm always kind. How does it look out there? Oh, how does it look out there, Brandon? It's pretty okay. Sure. The sun is out. Imagine that. I mean, it's clear skies. Clear skies today. Well, I'll get started. Listen, kid. Just go on back, my young friend. We'll check in on you shortly. Oh, it's just a couple of bathrooms. See, that attitude.
Go on back, Brandon. Okay, I'll start with the ladies. Fine. There's nobody...
No, it's just us and the kids.
The kids? Oh, hey y'all, what are you watching?
Some soap opera.
To Love a Red Moon. Some soap opera. Oh, yeah, my mom used to watch this one.
The woman in this scene, Magda, she's a Martian banker. Her lover is the moon Deimos, but she's unfaithful. It's very compelling.
What?
Looks like Jesus offering a potato! Well...
Footsteps and bathroom door opening.
See, Harry, a little bit of kindness and you got your janitor back.
When was I ever anything but kind to him?
I let him sleep in the office whenever he misses his bus, but he's not dependable. Off he goes, always when I need him most.
He thinks he ought to earn a little pay.
Imagine that. I can't afford to pay any fixed wages, though I wish I could.
Yeah, nobody pays Harry. So when someone else can pay...
then someone else will have to.
Not so loud, he'll hear you.
I want him to. He'll have to eventually.
Harry, I believe you're about to pour us a couple drinks.
This damn bar is like a muddy black little pond, where everyone who stops to drink falls in and drowns.
Now, Harry, who would drink from a muddy black pond?
There's always someone thirsty enough.
And what are you in this colorful metaphor?
Just another set of bones at the bottom.
I'll drink to that.
Hell, so will I.
Drinks pouring. Damn bones. No!
They're falling in love.
Eh?
On TV. So how'd it go? Your plaything.
My plaything?
You said you put on a play, right?
I staged an experimental theater production, yes.
Pardon me.
If you must know, it was a disaster.
Sorry to hear that.
On the topic of my production, the less said, the better.
Fine, change the subject.
It was doomed from the start, really. As I watched the sun rise that morning in front of Equus Oils,
What's that?
The gas station. Joseph's place.
Oh, how is old Joe?
Reflective these days. Aren't we all?
Wait, you did your play at a gas station? Whose dumb idea was that?
I staged an experimental... Yes.
And nobody came out, huh? I'll be damned.
An uncommon venue. By design.
It's unique, I'll give you that.
Even if an audience had materialized, there were other gaps in the production.
Okay.
The cast and crew, also absent. Yeah, that makes it hard then.
Damn.
So I alone stood there at sunrise with no play and no audience to miss it. I wonder what would have happened if when I was talking to him as Conway, if I had not told him to do the play at the gas station. And you? What's been occupying your days and nights, my friend? I wonder if it would have been different.
Not much. Sometimes I go down to the store and restock, but then it's straight back home.
Home? You mean this place?
I guess. Sounds pathetic, doesn't it?
Not at all.
No, you had it right at first. This bar is no home.
It all depends on what you mean by home.
Talking to Brandon the other day, I got a sense he sees his bar as a kind of home too. Ha! He's like a dog that walked in off the street.
And what do you do, Harry, when a dog walks in off the street?
You give him some water. A dog never did anything wrong.
Home is the place where, when you have to go there, they have to take you in.
What's that from?
A poem.
I'll bet. It sounds like a greeting card.
It's meant to sound a little cynical, I believe.
What's the poem called?
The Death of the Hired Man by Robert Frost.
Of course.
Only the poem which served as the basis for my doomed experimental stage production.
I'm sure it's a great poem.
The next line is, I should have called it something you somehow haven't to deserve.
Huh.
Mean anything to you?
Well, is he a Christian man?
Frost? Yes, I think he was, with a healthy measure of doubt.
Hashtag good Christian woman. And it sounds to me like the grace of God.
That makes sense.
You get it when you're baptized. It's automatic. You don't have to do anything to earn it. Except be baptized. You just try to be worthy of it. What do you think?
Harry, you know I only attend church for the acoustics.
Then what's the line mean to you?
Oh, I take it very literally. It's a moral claim. There is, for each of us, a place called home. Is there, though? The relationship is inalienable. It's our birthright. No one may keep us from this place.
Says who, though? I mean, who enforces it?
If God won't, then it's up to us.
And I guess you think the same goes for that kid back there.
Am I so transparent?
So why is it up to us, though? Doesn't his grandma work in a bank or something?
Does she?
I'm pretty sure I heard that.
But Harry, don't you think that if he could get help from family...
Sure, maybe they had a fight.
He looked exhausted.
Yeah, he did.
Why don't you go check on him?
It's kind of quiet back there, huh?
Not to scold him, Harry. Just see how he's doing.
Yeah, alright.
I'll catch up on the melodrama of the day. Jesus, bringer of potatoes. Well, you've been glued to this program all day. What do you make of it? Everybody's secretly in love with everybody else. It's so boring.
Too consistent, I see.
Sorry your play was a bust.
Ah, live theater is always a risk. That's what makes it interesting.
I agree.
Sure, you're a performer, you understand.
Emily's a performer? I was in a movie recently.
I hadn't heard.
Yeah, a western. Kind of. A glitch western.
You have my complete attention.
I was just thinking about your poem.
Oh?
Yeah, but I was thinking about it as a riddle. Like, what's the place where when you have to go there, they have to take you in?
And the answer is home?
No, it's a grave.
It just got dark. Harry returns. I mean, she's not wrong. Our host returns, but so quickly. Well, did you and the young man have a heart-to-heart conversation? How is he? He's asleep. On the floor, with a roll of paper towels as a pillow. That's rock bottom right there. Ah, try to remember, Harry. No, it's alright.
Let him rest.
Achievement unlocked, death of the... That's it? That's really just how it ends so abruptly, huh? Dude, sleep on the bathroom floor, let him rest. Boom, done. It's not even a credits roll or anything. That's it, I guess. That's the end of the game, you guys. Wow. The credits don't even scroll. I literally have to scroll through the credits myself. For fuck's sake. Act 1 restart. Does it do anything different or not? I don't know. Well, here's who created it. Emily, Bob, and Ben are the Bed Quilt Ramblers. Oh, nice. Now we know who Emily, Bob, and Ben are. They did all the music. Will Oldham is the guy that was on the phone call. That's it. Wow. I don't know how I feel about this game, you guys. My feelings about this game are complicated. I gotta say, I didn't love it. It felt kind of exhausting most of the time, actually. There's a lot about it that was good, or perhaps I should say there were good moments in it. The writing was high quality throughout. There was a lot of very interesting artistic things they did. But mostly it wasn't fun and it wasn't entertaining. Mostly. It was an experience. I mean, I would consider this to be an art game, for sure. It's more of an artistic experience. This is probably a little more avant-garde than most games I've played. Maybe all the games I've played. I can definitely see how it influenced Disco Elysium, but for me personally, it was a much worse experience than that game. It was very disjointed. You never really knew what was going on. You were constantly changing perspectives. You were never really embodied in any one particular character. You didn't know what was real, what was symbolic, what happened when. And there were all these little stories that were woven together, and you always just got little bits and pieces of them here and there. And it felt like while I was playing this, my brain was constantly having to try to, like, make something cohesive out of what I was experiencing and draw the meaning out of it, because it wasn't really given to me explicitly. And while there's value in that, that's a very, artistic thing to do. It's also tiring. There was a lot of reading that I had to do, which you guys know. I play a lot of games where I have to do a shitload of reading, and it's not a problem. But in this game, it felt harder. It felt harder to do all the reading in this game for some reason. And I think it's because I didn't really know what was going on, so I didn't really know who the characters were supposed to be. And, like, I wasn't carried along a lot of the times. I wasn't carried along by the context, by the drama of the scene, by the emotions of the characters. I was kind of, like, drifting and just reading stuff and trying to figure it out at the same time, and it just felt difficult. Like a difficult experience. And, this is the Dark Souls of text-based games. And the art style was cool and intriguing, and many times very well done with like lighting and colors and stuff. But it was also, it added to that sense of bewilderness. I felt like this whole game was kind of in a fugue, and like it was trying to draw you into that sense of being in a fugue. So it was always kind of uncomfortable. Like, I never felt like I was really part of this world, or that I really understood it, or that I really was embodied in the characters, like I said, or that I understood the characters. And yet there were lots of tiny little familiar things in there, enough to connect it to my human experience. But I don't know, man. It's a weird game. Like, I'm not sitting here at the end feeling disappointed, like, oh man, that sucked. Like I was at the end of Dead Synchronicity. Or even at the end of Alcatraz, where I was just kind of like, that was just... I mean, there's definitely a lot of creative brilliance in this game, right? I mean, in terms of, like, quality as such, this is definitely a much higher quality game than Dead Synchronicity or Alcatraz or whatever, or a lot of other kind of shitty. I guess that's not a real compliment. This game's a lot better than the shittiest games I can name. No, but I mean, like, it felt like it was a quality experience at all times, but maybe just not really for me. Like, I constantly kind of felt like I was too dumb to get this game. You know, that's kind of a problem I have with art in general, especially like modern art. Like, I always feel like I don't really get it, and other people seem to get it, or at least they pretend to. And so then I just feel like I'm dumber than those people. And it just gives you a vague sense of unease the whole time, where you're like, I feel like I'm supposed to be getting something out of this that I'm not getting out of it. So then you feel just kind of like a little bit low-key shitty the whole time. I don't know, like, it's like the prisoner trying to make a whole connection but never getting there. I just feel like Disco Elysium was kind of trying to do the same things that this game did, but it did it in a much more accessible way. A lot of times this game kind of felt like it was made for a very specific audience that I'm not really part of, you know? Always struggling to form connections and create a whole, but never really getting there. You like to watch it, but it was more for the sounds, visuals, etc. I had to do most of the legwork myself. It was like The Prisoner. It was kind of like The Prisoner. And Left with Dem Bones. Yeah, the android's a skeletal thing based on Depp, mostly in my head. Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like it had things to say, but it didn't say them very loud. It kind of mumbled what it had to say, such that you could still get some communication out of it, but you weren't really sure what you were getting out of it. It's impossible for me to really define this game or how I feel about it. If somebody said, what kind of game is it? I don't even know how to answer that. I mean, basically, it's a walking simulator if you think about it, although you make a shitload of choices, so in that sense, it's not, but there were no puzzles, and there were no mechanics or anything. There was nothing that, technically speaking, would normally constitute gameplay. So in that way, it was kind of like a walking simulator, although a very complex one. you know, compared to something like Tacoma, right? In some ways, it's kind of like something like Tacoma, but I feel like that, again, did a lot better job of just telling its story and connecting you to the characters. This was just kind of all over the place. I mean, I liked a lot of things about this. I'm glad I played it. I'm glad I had the experience of it, but I don't even know how to talk about it. Like, if I had to try to talk about this game with somebody who'd never seen it or knew anything about it, I don't even know what I would say. Things to say but didn't say them very loud feels very accurate. I'd be more interested in reading a wiki page about this or the characters as such. Yeah. I mean, it was certainly interesting. But, like I said, it wasn't exactly entertaining most of the time. There were funny moments, right? I swear to God, I liked the phone call thing better than the whole rest of the game. The thing on the phone with Will was my favorite part of this whole thing. Yeah, and the ending certainly wasn't satisfying in any way. I mean, it wasn't like a straight up bullshit ending like Dead Synchronicity. The ending didn't make me mad. It just didn't leave me feeling much of anything. Although I thought that near the end scene, when Emily was singing and all the ghosts were gathering, that was pretty good, pretty powerful scene, but I didn't feel like the game had done enough to earn it. Like, it didn't have the emotional relevance it should have, because the path that led you there was too disjointed and impersonal. This was more like a painting than a book, or a movie or something. It's like something you just look at and you inject your own meaning into it. And then that epilogue was not great. I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about this game. I don't hate it. I'm not mad that I played it or anything. I don't know who I'd recommend it to, though. I suppose hipsters. That sounds fucked up, but like certain types of people that you know are into weird artsy shit and like, I don't know, you know the kind of people I'm talking about. I guess I'd recommend it to them. People with a lot more education than me, especially a lot more liberal arts education than me. I'd recommend it to them pretty unequivocally, I think. But, people that just like to play video games in general, I wouldn't really recommend it to them. This is an interactive thing, but I don't even think I'd call it a video game exactly. It does have a very Portland vibe, absolutely. You'd rather it ended at the song? Yeah. I agree, Splode. Kind of wish Octo from the first day was here to give his input, since he really seemed to be into the game. Yeah, me too, Splode. I mean, me too, Nox. Sorry. Nox and Splode have the same name color now, so it's confusing. Yeah, the thing at the end with the loud-ass, meaningless soap opera just playing on repeat on the TV. I mean, maybe they're trying to say something with that, but, you know. I don't really want games to try to give me subtle messages. I'd rather you just kind of hit me over the head with it, honestly. Maybe that's what I... This game made me have to think too much. And that sounds like a shitty criticism. Like, that's the kind of criticism that dumb people make, right? Like, if anyone else made that criticism of any other game that I liked, I would immediately judge them for it. I'd be like, you're a fucking idiot. I mean, I wouldn't probably say that to them, but I would think it, you know? Like, if somebody said about Planescape Torment or Disco Elysium, oh, this game made me have to think too much, I'd be like, you're a fucking moron. Right? But here I am saying that about this. I feel like it made me have to think too much. Without a lot of payoff, I guess. I don't know. Again, I just think this was made for a different audience than me. Like a lot of these indie games. There's a scene out there for people who love these sort of avant-garde, very untraditional indie games that are very artistic and complex and nuanced, but also, you know, not offering traditional entertainment experiences. I know there's a whole scene for these type of people, and they probably think this game is amazing. And I think it was amazing in a way. It just wasn't amazing in the way that I like, if that makes sense. You know? But I'm still glad I played it. And certainly interesting. I would say for whatever it was trying to do, it was done very well. It's just whatever it was trying to do was not really for me. It's like opera. I don't like opera. Now, I could go to an opera that's like the best opera in the world, and I could recognize that they were doing opera very well, but I still probably wouldn't like it that much just because I don't care for opera. You know what I mean? Like a literary novel for an English class. Yeah, same. Anyway, that's my feelings on Kentucky Route Zero. Recommended for a limited audience. Not a general recommendation for video game players. That's going to do it for this episode and this playthrough. Thank you for watching. This has been Josiah Plays Kentucky Route Zero.